and joining us. Before we begin, may I kindly ask you to rise for the national anthem. Shanice Nelson from NSTOP will be leading us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Shanice. It is my great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you gathered here today for Empowering Women NFP's third annual gala. Your presence tonight speaks wonders. We are immensely grateful for your participation. Brace yourselves for an evening of excitement. We have some engaging trivia. Yes, trivia. It will be a little competitive. A silent auction on the side over there. Remember, bidding stops at 5 p.m. Some very inspirational speakers, and of course, our signature dazzling fashion show by the Maria Bonita Modeling Agency. Gathered here tonight, we have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those affected by domestic violence. Your generosity can help provide critical resources to survivors, such as legal services, counseling, and skills training. Tonight, you can make a difference. From previous years, I'm going to change things up a little bit and add a little bit of fun and engagement to our evening. I've prepared some trivia. These questions are designed to test your knowledge, I'm just kidding, and spark some friendly competition. So, get ready, put on your thinking caps, and join in the excitement. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Question number 1. Which symbol is commonly used to represent domestic violence awareness?
If you think it could be serious, ask them to call emergency services.
Anybody? No, not dove.
Bird.
Nope.
Butterfly.
Nope.
Purple.
Purple is the color, yes. A purple ribbon. There you go. Big round of applause. Purple ribbon. What year was the first Domestic Violence Awareness Month observed in the U.S.? It's not that long ago, unfortunately. Okay, hint, it's before 1990. Is that long ago? That's right, 1987. job. So our next segment is a video from Empowering Women NFP's liaison for the Latina community, Diana Rodriguez. She has shown incredible strength and resilience in overcoming her own challenges, and today she shares her powerful story here with us. Here is Diana's inspiring journey of courage and hope.
Hello, my name is Diana Rodriguez.
There's no video.
Hello, my name is Diana Rodriguez. I am a survivor of domestic violence. At one point, I was a victim of abuse in my own household. One day, I made the decision to make it my life's work and mission in life to help other women in their situations of abuse. I am involved with different organizations such as Empowering Women Not-for-Profit, Healing to Action, Survivors Economically Empowered, and I am also a survivor leader from the office of the mayor of the city of Chicago. During the 8 years I was living in Chicago, because recently I moved to San Antonio, I met Arshia and found out about her organization, and now we're part of her team. We, the team of Empowering Women, help women acquire the skills that they need to be able to survive their years of abuse. Some of the skills include learning how to sew and computer basics. These skills will help women be able to overcome their situations. I find that Empowering Women is a very vital and important role in the community. I find that this organization that we work for is very unique, in that they help women acquire these skills. Not all organizations have this for our communities. I'm taking a few minutes of your time to encourage you to help support our group, Empowering Women Not-for-Profit. Thank you.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce someone who embodies the spirit of advocacy and compassion in her work. She brings a unique perspective shaped by her roles as an advocate, a public servant, wait for this, a performer, and a survivor. As Healthcare and Human Services Liaison for the Illinois State Comptroller's Office and founder of With Kind Words Medical Consulting, she works to ensure compassionate support for people with disabilities and their families. Her commitment to advocacy was sparked when she successfully fought against service cuts in Springfield, giving a voice to families whose loved ones depend on vital support, services, and programs. A nationally recognized comedian and storyteller, she brings warmth and humor to difficult conversations, believing that shared laughter can build bridges and break down barriers. Currently hosting Driving It Home on WCPT 820's Heartland Signal, she continues to use her voice to create meaningful dialogue about the issues that impact societies. Her work combines advocacy, empathy, and the belief that sharing our stories can create powerful change. Please join me in welcoming Hattie Vasquez.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was It's weird to hear it back, isn't it? I am by trade, I have been a stand-up comic for over 30 years. A little bit about myself, I grew up in Norwood Park, the northwest side of Chicago. I've met some folks who are from communities nearby. And I'll tell you just briefly of why I got into stand-up comedies from like the moment of like, oh, I could do that, is a comedian named Margaret Cho, who shared stories about her family, about being the daughter of immigrants. And I thought, my family's funny too, and that's how I left grad school at Northwestern, much to the dismay of my parents. But it was something I knew I wanted to do, was tell a story, that I had something to say. My mother is from Mexico, and she decided to come to Chicago in 1968. She was a divorced mother of 3, had survived a domestic violence situation in Mexico City, and wanted to find a better opportunity for herself so she could provide for her children. And she had this whole plan. She was going to go to a YWCA in Chicago and get a room, and from the airport she was going to catch a bus, she was going to save money, she had this whole thing. She was Patricia, this is before they had the goggle. That's how she, I know it's Google, but to put on goggles to look for things, so I like to call it the goggle. She had this whole plan, and instead of getting a bus though at O'Hare Airport, she was exhausted and she decided to catch a cab, and that's when she got into my father's cab. So that's really how they met her very first day. So how do you not become a stand-up comic when you have an Irish cab driver and a Mexican migrant from Mexico City? They were married within a year, and part of my background is people making fun of me. I turned my own microphone off, there we go. People used to make all kinds of fun of me in grade school because I grew up in a very predominantly white area. They would call me all kinds of names. I got bullied in school, and I think you've heard this before, that comedians are often the people who have survived all kinds of trauma and pain, and they don't want anyone else to feel that way. And that's part of where I come from as a stand-up comedian. And I just knew that sharing a story about being Irish and Mexican would kind of strike a chord for folks who maybe came from various backgrounds. People would always call me names on stage. I would say I was Irish and Mexican, and people would yell things out like, well, that makes you a leprechaun. And those are the kinds of things, because if you put an O at the end of a word, that makes it Spanish. And you would think, right now, by the way, I'm looking at everybody, and I'm feeling some adrenaline. I felt it when I put my hand on my heart during the national anthem. And I realized how nervous I was to speak here today, because you would think, I keep turning it off, there we go. Whoever comes up next, just hold it right there. I have been a public speaker, as a comedian, as an actress for over 30 years, but it was not until last year that I stood in front of you here at this event, speaking for Controller Susanna Mendoza, that I wanted to thank you as a survivor for the work that you do. That was the first time I told an audience in person. And so I want to thank everyone for asking me to come back and encouraging me to speak, because my career in stand-up comedy began in a situation that I did not know was dangerous until it was almost too late. I started doing open mics, and I started working at some clubs in the area, and I had the chance, back in the 90s, when we still had an improv on Wells in Chicago, downtown, right by the Anti-Cruelty Society. I got to go on stage there. And I fell in love with this guy who was the sound booth operator. He was the one that would play the music, your walk-up music. And we started dating. And we didn't know the term love bombing in the 90s, where someone just makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world within days. All of a sudden you mean everything, and I've never met anyone like you, and I can't spend time away from you. And that sort of exhilaration you have with someone who seems that devoted to you is consuming. And we moved in within 3 months. And I still didn't know. I didn't see any of the warning signs of like, who are you out with? When are you gonna be back? But the first time I realized that this was different and I still didn't do anything was I was 10 or 15 minutes late to pick him up somewhere. I had the car and he was not where we were supposed to meet. And I waited like 15 minutes, maybe I thought he was getting there late. Or, maybe I just missed him or something. So I waited like about a half an hour, and I went home, and he was waiting for me in the dark, just sitting on our couch smoking a cigarette, and asked me where I was, who I was with, who I was sleeping with. And the reaction, I now know, should have just been like, well, this is not appropriate. This is not what's happening. And instead, I started begging him to believe me. I swear I didn't do, you start justifying their rage, and you don't know it yet. And then it grew to the point where he would start telling me to pack my things and get out. And I would be begging him, like, I'm so sorry, I don't know what I did wrong. And I was like, fine, okay, I guess I have to go. And I would start packing, and he would start crying. And he would tell me that he behaved that way because he loved me so much. That I made him crazy, and he just said it comes out that way. And it would happen over and over and over again. And I had moments of where he would be standing over me yelling at me, and I thought, well, this is how it happens. And I want women to know that you didn't make a mistake. That's what we think it's our fault at some point. Well, I couldn't have fallen for this. I was wrong for letting this happen. Because they find a way, many people in manipulative situations find a way to isolate you. And I had friends who didn't want to be with me because he was too mean, he was too harsh. And there's something about emotional abuse that we don't talk about enough. And that is, there comes a moment where I thought, I wish he would just hit me. Because then I could ask for help. How do you go to anybody and say, I think I'm in danger, he's controlling my movements, he's isolating me from family and friends? How do you report that to anybody? Because we didn't talk about it in the 90s, and I know that we still don't talk about it. There's a shame that I did something wrong, I shouldn't have let this happen. And for any woman who thinks it's not going to happen to me, it's surprising how quickly it can. And for men who don't recognize it or even identify their own actions in isolating a woman, it's absolutely terrifying. And I want you to know that we deserve love. Every single person here deserves to love and to be loved. And sometimes after a relationship like the one I was fortunate enough to get out of, and there's so many reasons why we stay. We stay because we don't have enough money. We stay because we have children. We stay because we think we've put so much time into this relationship. I'm sure I can fix it, or this is just temporary. And I know for some of you, and I can see your faces, I'm so sorry, but you are also so beautiful, and I can see that you've felt this, and some of you may be uncomfortable, and I don't mean to do that. I know that every situation is different in how we seek support, how we get help, and that's why organizations like this are crucial to our communities, to our families. If you plan on donating, I'm going to encourage you to donate more, not more than you can, but to make sure that these services are available, because so many of us don't know that they are there. There are cultural differences, there are income differences, there are challenges to overcoming how we can be safe and remove ourselves from an unsafe place. And I have been so honored to work for Comptroller Susana Mendoza. I came here last year with a statement from her. And I want to read this briefly because it was something that she sent to make sure that it was shared, and I am so proud to work for her. On behalf of myself and the entire staff of the Illinois Office of Comptroller, I am honored to welcome you all to the Empowering Women NFP Spring Gala 2025. Since its founding in June 2020, Empowering Women NFP has made a profound impact on our state, providing crucial support to countless women and children who have survived domestic violence. Through its dedicated efforts and strong partnerships with various organizations across the Chicagoland area, this remarkable organization has developed vital resources for some of our most vulnerable community members at a time when support is desperately needed. Their unwavering commitment ensures that no one is ever turned away. I extend my heartfelt congratulations and best wishes for continued success. Sincerely, Susana Mendoza. And in addition to those words, I want you to know that on Friday, somebody had reached out to our office. They were a survivor, and the comptroller brought her into the office to hear her story. She does not just say these things lightly. She amplifies and elevates those who need the support most. And in my capacity there, I want people to know if you need to reach out to me and find out, and this goes to NFP and any organizations, if something's behind, I may not be able to solve the problems, but I may be able to point you in the right direction. And I will just say this before, I know you have such a wonderful event and so many great fashions that I saw in the hallway. I saw everyone rehearsing, and I was here last year and it was extraordinary. But Before I finally left my ex-boyfriend, he gave me this very heavy silver necklace that was almost like a collar. And I never gave it away because a friend of mine said, you can't put that energy out, that negative energy into the world. And I told someone that story recently, and she's a jewelry maker, and she made it into a ring with a Mexican onyx in it. And I feel like it's my survival ring, and I tell other women who ask about it. Because you never know, even in a simple exchange, when you might be able to have an impact and tell someone they deserve to be safe, they deserve love, and they deserve support. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate your time, and have a wonderful rest of your event. Please support NFP in any way you can. Thank you.
Just a quick announcement. There are about 4 or 5 cars parked just on the right-hand side of the entry door, on the right side of that roadway. If whoever has those cars could move them, they are likely going to get towed. I told them to not do it for a little bit, but if there's cars on the right-hand side as you enter the door, actually be on the left-hand side as you enter, if somebody could just move them out, because, you know, they will go. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Patty, for your inspiring words and for sharing your incredible journey with us. Your dedication to advocacy and compassion truly resonates with all of us here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, a true beacon of leadership, hope, and compassion. She is the founder of Empowering Women NFP. Her leadership is not just about guiding others, but it's about inspiring and empowering those around her to reach their fullest potential. With a heart of gold, she has touched countless lives, providing hope, strength, and unwavering support to survivors who need it most. Her dedication to making a difference is evident in everything she does. Her passion for empowering women is truly inspiring. Please join me in welcoming a remarkable leader and a compassionate advocate, Arshia Hasnani.
Thank you so much, Parva, for that lovely introduction. I say that you're only as strong as the team that's with you. So it's you guys that make me as courageous, as strong, as impactful in ways that I think we truly can make a difference. So thank you. Everyone, good afternoon and welcome to Empowering Women NFP's annual Gala and Cultural Fashion Show. As I look around and see so many old faces, so many new faces, thank you to each and every one of you for being here today. All of us are gathered here for an afternoon of fun, enjoyment, but most of all, the impact that we have made together, and the impact that we will continue to make. Thank you to all our supporters and partners who have joined us today. We would also like to especially thank our elected officials, our dynamic keynote speaker, where is she? She's right here. Patty Vasquez, representing the Office of the Comptroller of the State of Illinois, who herself is a strong supporter of our work. I will take a few minutes of your time to walk you through, step by step, who Empowering Women NFP is, the work that we do in the marginalized communities that we work in, and how each and every one of you has enabled us to do that. Empowering Women NFP is a grassroots organization founded in 2020 at the onset of COVID. where we saw a rise in the number of calls to the local police and shelter services. The stay-at-home order made sense from a health standpoint. However, the economic impact, increased unemployment and financial insecurity, stress of childcare and homeschooling, all led to an unimaginable increase in domestic violence abuse at home, especially against children and women. Mainly because everyone was confined to their homes and no access to those who may be able to see or witness the abuse or obtain assistance necessary to escape the violent situation. Come with me and let me introduce you to the team of Empowering Women NFP. I'll come up here because I can now see the screen along with you. So look to your right or to your left where the screens are. This is the core team, our board, Farba, Seher, Sarah, myself, next slide. Stephanie, Abi, Farah, Mumtaz, next slide. Our advisors, our interns, our ambassadors, next slide. And our volunteers. Each one of these individuals, if you could please rise, stand up, please do, yep. Our team, yes, everybody, the team, please rise. And give everybody a round of applause. Thank you. Next slide, please. It's okay. The NSOP community, we love you guys. You are hilarious. We love you truly. Our mission: to break the cycle of gender-based violence and domestic violence, which includes emotional, economic, sexual, physical abuse, by providing a broad spectrum of necessary services in and around Chicago, focusing on the safety, empowerment, independence, while being trauma-informed and culturally respectful, reflecting the specific need of underserved communities of color. Next slide. These are our focus areas: the south side of Chicago, Rogers Park, and Main Township. What do? We raise awareness, educate community members, we promote economic empowerment, self-sufficiency through our skills development programs, we provide free legal guidance through our volunteer attorney, and our programs, again, we go back to this, are trauma-informed, our staff is trauma-informed, and we value and respect every client that comes to us. Next slide, please. Our story. Who are we connecting with? Again, the south side of Chicago, we've got 3 locations: Woodlawn, South Shore, and Calumet Heights. Rogers Park, please take a seat. Our alderwoman right here, Deborah Silverstein, thank you for being here. Your support really means a lot to us. The communities we interact with: the African American community, South Asian, Latina, Eastern European, and majority are immigrant communities. South side of Chicago, Main Township area, Rogers Park. This is where we need your support. Next slide, please. Next slide. Our ask for today is $45,000. We need your support for our workforce development, skills development programs, where we teach survivors of domestic violence to become financially independent, ultimately getting them back into the workforce. How does your, can you go back? Yeah. How does your support help us, and how you can help us? Financial support, funding for our programs, to help bring awareness. We can come to your home, come to your schools, come to your organization, and talk about what Empowering Women NFP does. We can talk to kids in the high schools, we can talk to kids in colleges, and we can work with your workplace environment also. Next slide. So our two main asks are for our skills development workshops, where we teach sewing classes and digital literacy classes. And the second ask is for our legal support services. So these are the two areas where we feel that we have the need to ask for help. Next slide. The services that we provide. I can go down the list, but it's our skills development workshop, legal assistance, community outreach program, basic health care through physician volunteers, life management skills, language assistance, emergency short-term shelter, provide on-site services to companies to help raise awareness about gender-based violence. Next slide. All right, again, if I go down the list, last year's breakdown, 30 individuals graduated from our sewing skills development program. This is, thank you. This is a 12-week long course, and majority of the women that come to us don't know this skill set. So it's a great way for us to introduce this and help them. They can become seamstresses, they can open up their own home businesses. So lots of opportunities for them. And we also have Susan right here, Susan Arinko from Lens Flare, who has very generously offered through her company to hire the women that we train. So again, this is something that we make sure that we provide them with a skill set, get them the training, and then also help them get the job. 90 graduates through our digital skills learning program. 70 individuals helped through our job placement and job assistance. Keep going down the list. 82 received legal assistance. 800 children received backpacks. So we're not just working with survivors, we're also working with families and need in the community through our turkey campaign, through our backpack campaigns, through the Christmas campaigns that we hold, our Christmas drives, and we also have a Ramadan campaign that's coming up. Next slide. Oh, this is a fun one that we do. All of you guys this year, make sure, come October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we hold our annual 5K walk. Just look at the number of cities that participated. So it's an in-person event that we do every year, but we also hold this event at the same time outside of Illinois. So look at the number of cities again. This is just such a great initiative to create awareness, outreach, teach them about what gender-based violence is and how it's important to help. Next slide. Out of the country, not just out of state, but look at all these 16 different locations from 11 countries that also participated. Next slide. Our partners. We can't do everything. We need community partners, community support. So we want to thank, and I will name each and every one of them, Alliant Credit Union, PNC Bank, Maine Township, Chicago Police Department, District 24. We have monthly meetings at District 24, specifically focusing on domestic violence and how we have been able to manage and either decrease or increase the services that are provided by the district. And Stop Church, Living Hope Church, Life and Learning Coach Center, Sabina, thank you. Empowerment Through Movement, Well-Being, all about wellness with Maheen, Avalon Industries, the Lowndes Foundation, Devon Bank, thank you, David, Al Farouk Community Center in the south side of Chicago, Lens Flare, Susan, thank you, Centro Romero, big partnership for us, the Quarry in the south, south side of Chicago, Living Hope, Holy Life Learning Center, Sabile Center in Des Plaines, Maria Bonita, you see their models here today, amazing, amazing. Gala, it's the domestic violence service agency in Rogers Park. Again, we work so closely with them and have learned so much from them. And lastly, right here, Sean Distribution. So these are our community partners, and they're here, and there's all of you here, which make empowering women as impactful as we can be. Next slide, please. Key takeaways, I'm almost done. We need your support to raise $45,000 for our skills development programs and for our legal support services. So please, whatever you can donate, get on our monthly plan. It's, it's just such a huge help to be able to provide even a link card for a survivor, an Uber ride. It's not much, $50, $100. Do whatever you can. Raise awareness, invite us to come and speak in your places, either a worship in your home, get a few people together. Please donate. You can donate via Zelle through administration@ewnfp.org, or you can go to our website. You can donate through there. You can go to Give Butter. We have the QR codes on the tables. You can scan those and donate. Next slide. We're done. That was pretty quick. That was pretty quick. So again, everybody, I hope you enjoy this afternoon. There's a lot of learning and there's a lot of work that we can do together. And again, one organization can't do everything. We have partner organizations. Domestic violence is such a huge problem in our communities, in our district, in our towns, in our city, in our state, in our country. So please support Empowering Women NFP in any way that you can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arshia. Just a quick reminder, the silent auction closes in about just under 15 minutes. So if you'd like to get your bids in on anything you had your eyes on, we have our volunteers. There they are, thank you. So you might want to get those in. Also, as Arshia mentioned, you can donate via Zelle at administration@nfp.org. ewnfp.org, or via check. Our volunteers are walking around. Please flag one down and they'd be more than happy to get that going. Okay, so a lot of speeches, a lot of learning, so another session of trivia. Ready? All right. Question 1. What percentage of women in the U.S. have experienced contact sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime? What percentage of women?
40%. 60%.
41%.
Oh,
You got it right. Question 2. This time I have 3 questions for you guys. So, how many people per minute experience intimate partner violence in the United States?
5, 15, 10,
32 per minute. So you count 1, 2 seconds, that's one person. 1, 2, another person. On an average day, domestic violence hotlines nationwide receive how many calls?
100, 101. Is it too less or more?
More.
More.
Yeah.
Wow, 500.
Nope, way more.
Wow.
Way more.
Wow.
20,000.
What?
20,000 calls per day. Think about it. Thank you for your participation. Now for the next segment, we're going to recognize and honor our incredible supporters and sponsors who make this work for us possible. We are nothing without all of your support. Your generosity and commitment are instrumental in helping us achieve our goals. It is a privilege for me to present certificates of appreciation to these outstanding individuals and organizations. As we call your name, if you can please come to the stage. Reza Alam, Yusuf Alam, and Aliza Alam are our computer instructors.
Right here.
Can
You gotta
you
come
come in the
up.
middle?
Yusuf is here.
Yusuf's missing in action, I think.
These guys are our instructors in the Rogers Park area. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Celeste Johnson from Alliant Credit Union, Include Employee Resource Group. Celeste runs our annual holiday toy drive at Alliant, and we take it we plan a whole day where we wrap the toys at the credit union, and then we deliver them to children. John Urbatus, Alliant Credit Union. So those wonderful cutting boards that you see on the silent auction table, John spends his time gluing each piece of wood together. So each of those little squares of colors that you see are glued together by hand by John. Susanna Mendoza, Patty Vasquez, are you able to come? Sorry, we didn't warn you.
She's right. She's like a whole minute? Second, say a second.
Andre Vasquez, Alderman. Not here today. Deborah Silverstein, Alderman.
Deborah and her office has been very helpful, and anytime that we've needed to promote our classes in the Rogers Park area, we've been there for us, so thank you. Thank you so much. Her voice is gone.
Sheila Watson and Stop.
Shelley's here. She's here.
Vashti Johnson and Stop.
Vashti is our sewing instructor. So thank you so much, Vashti, for all of your efforts.
Oops. Carolina Ocampo, Maria Bonita Modeling Agency.
You'll see the amazing work that Carolina does with her models, the mentorship that she provides, not only the training, but you have an amazing program, and our partnership is very special. So thank you.
Susan Orenco, Lens Flare.
Susan, where are you? She's right there.
And again, with Susan, the beauty is that she completes that circle we start with. So this is one of the scarves that our ladies finished. And again, it's a great opportunity for us to work with you, Susan, and thank you for giving us that opportunity. And Susan has donated a scarf over there, so make sure that you get a chance to bid on it. And John, your boards are there too, so guys, make sure you keep an eye on your silent auction items.
I might butcher this, so please excuse me. Ed Beauvais from Maine Township. Oh, he's not here. Gustavo Lisa from Maria Bonita Modeling Agency.
Gustavo is here for the rehearsals when we rehearse a few days before for the fashion show. Gustavo, thank you for your support. Thank you. Gustavo is the official photographer for Maria Bonita.
Mr. Tariq Kareem, Consul General of Pakistan in Chicago.
Again, Mr. Tariq Kareem and his wife Asma have been a huge support right from the start. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for always supporting our work.
Tamara Beckford, Enstop. Gloria Hill Jones, Enstop. And Bishop Oswald Benson, Enstop.
Tamara has been a huge help for the models at the end stop. They're going to be providing us and training the girls and the boys, so thank you, Tamara. Miss Gloria, Gloria, Gloria. A huge round of applause for her, please. She is our latest find. She is a professional designer, seamstress, and she has been guiding Vashti tremendously these last few weeks. So we are so happy to have you on board and on our team. Thank you, ma'am. And of course, the one and only Bishop Nelson. A round of applause for him. We met 4 years ago at District 24 CPD. Sergeant Sisk introduced us, and 4 years later, here we are. Thank you for opening up your church, your community, for us to hold our classes, and this is a great friendship and partnership. Thank you.
Paul Labone here? Paul? No. Myra Gomez Santon? Thank you to all of our incredible supporters and sponsors. Your generosity, commitment have made a profound impact, and we could not do this important work without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to also extend my thanks to all of you that are gathered over here today, that have taken your time out of your Sunday to be here with us, to support us. Your unwavering support is what we need to reach our goals. So thank you. So before I introduce our last speaker, I have just a couple announcements. To find out if you have won your bid on the silent auction, we ask that you go at the end of the program to the tables, and our volunteers will be there to assist you. Additionally, after the fashion show, we ask all of the recipients of these certificates and our supporters to come up to the stage for one last picture. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our final speaker, Farah Jalisa. She's a dedicated attorney, a volunteer attorney at that, who runs our monthly legal help desk, providing invaluable support to survivors. Farah's expertise and compassion, her commitment to justice, and her unwavering support for survivors is deeply commendable. Please join me in welcoming Farah Jalisa.
Hi everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today for our third year. It's an honor to have you with us, and it's a year where we need to talk about this more than ever. My name is Farah Jalisa. I am an organizer of the fashion show that you will be watching shortly. But before we get started with that, I'm going to put on the second hat that I wear for empowering women, that of legal advisor. I'd like to speak to you for a couple of minutes about the legal protections offered to survivors of domestic violence. How many of you know a survivor of domestic violence? Let's talk about what domestic violence is. Traditionally, we think of domestic violence as physical abuse and harm. But did you know that domestic violence also includes harassment, like showing up at someone's workplace or phoning somebody's work or school constantly to intimidate them? It can mean convincing a minor to act against a parent. It can mean depriving someone of food, shelter, or medication. It can mean someone forcing you to give them the passwords to your social media or allow you to read their texts. It can mean name-calling, shaming, and humiliating. It can mean not letting you go to work or forcing you to give your salary to your partner when you do go to work. It can mean following somebody around to intimidate them. So let me ask you again, how many people in this room believe that they might know somebody going through domestic abuse? Look around, that's a big portion of the room. And that's exactly why it's so important for us to have this conversation today. There's one other type of domestic violence that I haven't mentioned yet, and it's one that we're seeing more often now than ever. And that form is using a partner's immigration status against them. Usually, this looks like an abuser silencing their partner by telling them that reporting the abuse could lead to their deportation. Can you imagine how terrifying it is to already be facing abuse in your home, to fear speaking out, and then to carry the additional weight of uncertainty about one's legal status? Even in an era marked by harsh political rhetoric and policies that seem designed to intimidate, that are designed to intimidate, such as those under our current administration, I want everyone in this room to know that domestic violence survivors continue to have legal rights, no matter what their legal status. You are not unprotected. Undoubtedly, the political climate is, to put it lightly, challenging, but the federal, state, and local laws that have been put into place to protect survivors of domestic violence continue to remain in effect. For example, the Violence Against Women Act, or VAWA, is a critical resource. Under this act, you actually have the right to petition for legal status if you have been abused by a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident. Even if you are undocumented, you can continue to apply for this legal protection without any reliance on your abuser. Even if you are here, for example, on a green card because you were married to the abuser. Through VAWA, you actually can have your own route to citizenship and still be able to report and leave the abuser. You do not have to stay with the abuser to stay in this country. Another important form of immigration assistance for domestic violence survivors is the U visa. This is available to victims of certain crimes, including domestic violence, and can also serve as a pathway to legal status. These protections are designed to empower survivors to break free from abusive situations without the threat of deportation looming over them. You are not alone. Where the executive branch of the government may be exhibiting severe lack of judgment, know that there are judges, lawyers, advocates, and organizations like this one fiercely dedicated to supporting immigrant women, particularly survivors of domestic violence. We operate on the steadfast belief that your voice, your safety, and your life matters, no matter where you come from and who you are. Knowledge is power. By learning this information, you have now become a member of a vital community that uses this knowledge to protect each other and support each other in asserting our rights and reclaiming control over our lives. This knowledge could protect anyone in this room, and it can also be used by anyone in this room to advise and protect others. It is only through education, advocacy, and solidarity that we will continue to break free from all forms of abuse, occupation, and build a safer, freer future for us all. Thank you for your attention, your bravery, and your commitment to standing up for human rights. Now we'll just take a short 5-minute break while we tee up the fashion show, and then I believe we'll get to the main event of tonight. So thank you all again for being here. Please feel free to grab some more treats and tea, and we'll get started with the show shortly.